Welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a subscription. Wish you all a good day. My best friend is online dating the Crown Prince of Jingqing, and I stood next to her watching her spend all the money from her black card, longingly. Not bad this time. She glanced at me. Good sisters enjoy good fortune together, how about it? Let's each date him for a month? Me, okay. 3 months later, my best friend and I went on crazy shopping sprees every day. It wasn't until the Crown Prince suggested meeting in person that we heard that he was a violent man. Both of us were shaking as we held our phones, pushing each other. You dated him, you take responsibility. But you also dated him, you take responsibility. The Crown Prince stood outside the door and glanced at the cold man wearing a black Buddhist rosary on his back, smiling coldly. Brother, these two idiots still haven't realized that we're not the same person. When I got home, I picked up my phone and looked at the meaningful conversation between Tanoyet and the other party, not knowing how to respond. The latest messages were a photo of a man with pale skin, wearing a black necklace on his collarbone. Where are you? Sister, you haven't replied to my messages all day. I just bought a necklace, do you think it's pretty? After a long while, I cautiously replied, it's okay. Why are you talking so gently today? Tisk, are you going out again? I'll break her legs soon. But these lines were quickly retracted. I didn't even have time to see clearly. Remembering Suyu's advice, I decided to take the initiative to attack. I went to the bathroom too much today, it's all your fault. The other party immediately replied. Replied? It seems that this trick really worked. So I continued to text, because I miss you, I go again and again. After the message was sent, the other party did not reply anymore. A few hours later, worried that the conversation would fall apart, I took a screenshot and sent it to Suyu. She helplessly held her head and called me, if you can't flirt, don't try too hard, honey. I never taught you how to flirt like that. Forget it, it's not your fault, who told you to be born single? I'm telling you, be brave, he doesn't know who you are, and he can't do anything to you. If anything happens, I'll take care of it, he's the easiest to coax out of my 8 online love interests. She nagged at me about how to flirt in a way that suited her status. It was then that I realized that my best friend was a sea king. To be exact, I had only just learned this. In the afternoon, I went shopping with Suyu in the mall. She looked at me hesitantly and asked, honey, what if there was a girl who flirted with 8 men at the same time? Without thinking, I immediately replied, you're a bad girl, how disgusting. She lowered her head, then what if that girl was me? My eyes lit up, baby, you're so good, let me follow your example. She breathed a sigh of relief, so you don't think I'm bad like this? I waved my hand, that just proves that I'm good at talking. Suyu happily led me upstairs and bought me a limited edition Mio bag that I had been eyeing recently. While shopping, she casually told me about her 8 online dating partners. One of them was the Crown Prince of the Imperial City. Suyu was a little worried at first. After all, she hated trouble. But then she discovered that the Crown Prince was a love-crazed person. Furthermore, he was the type who would throw money away if he didn't reply for 3 minutes. The entire afternoon, the bank transfer messages on her phone kept ringing, and I didn't know how the Crown Prince knew her account number. I looked at those numbers with admiration. Suyu resolutely threw the phone she used to text the Crown Prince to me. She said he was too clingy. Good sisters, each date for a month. I was deeply moved. But now, after being reminded by her, I remembered that I had been single since birth. After being taught by Suyu for a few hours, I became much more confident. In order not to ruin the relationship that Suyu was building, early the next morning, I started going online and working. The flirting sentences just flowed out naturally. Honey, are you awake? I miss you so much. No reply? I love you even more. The other side finally replied, just woke up. Me, you replied, right? I love you to death. He didn't reply, but soon after I received a transfer notification of 520,000 yuan. My eyes lit up. As expected of the crown prince of Jingqing, so generous. Just as I was about to count the number of digits in the amount, he sent a new message, say it again. Of course, I chose to. Say it 10 times. I smiled happily and hugged my phone, my flirting soul exploding across the screen. Remembering Suyu's words to be more enthusiastic, I felt like I understood. Can I call you husband? You know, I've never had a husband since I was little. From that day on, it was as if I had opened up the Ren and Du meridians, acupuncture points in martial arts. No matter what message I sent, Fu Jingxian would reply. Every morning when I woke up, the first thing I did was to text him to check in. Then I received the transfer. I was extremely excited, and even went online to learn a lot of flirting sentences. I flirted with him to the point that he had to send me voice messages several times at night. Only then did I discover that his voice was very nice, both seductive and deep. It was clearly just a normal conversation, but through his voice, it became extremely sexy. I was the type of person who controlled the sound, so I flirted with him even more. Until half a month later, Fu Jingxian asked to video call me. I immediately refused. After all, I didn't know if Suyu had ever video called him before. What if I was exposed? But it was really hard to refuse when receiving money. I made an excuse that I had just woken up, hadn't put on makeup yet, and it was inconvenient to show my face. He agreed. When the video call was connected, the image that appeared was a man wearing black silk pajamas. Next was his charming collarbone. His cold face with a small mole on the bridge of his nose made him even more strangely attractive. Indescribably sexy. I was stunned for a moment. Until I saw his eyes getting deeper and deeper, and his Adam's apple moving up and down. Only then did I look back at my small screen. Because I didn't intend to show my face, I set the camera to shoot from the collarbone down. And I have a habit of not wearing a bra when I sleep. Moreover, this nightgown was a couple's set that Suyu gave me. The collar was heart-shaped with pure white lace, almost revealing my chest. I panicked and immediately hung up the video call. Just as I was about to explain, I heard a knock on the door from outside, accompanied by Suyu's voice. I opened the door. Suyu walked in with her phone in her arms, not even looking at me, and went straight to sit down on the sofa. Several phones were thrown on the coffee table carelessly. One was still in her hand, her fingers quickly swiping across the screen. I closed the door, hearing her sending voice messages. Honey, are you awake? Not this afternoon, I have to play tennis with my friends this afternoon. I poured her a glass of water. She took the opportunity to say thank you and continued replying to messages. She looked no different from a customer service representative. Half an hour later, Suyu finally finished replying to all the messages on the phones. She lay down on my sofa. So tired. Honey, why don't you help me date someone else? Me? Huh? She hugged my waist, taking a deep breath in my arms. Me, okay. So she happily played the check the soldiers and generals game, and conveniently threw me a phone. Sea King always knows how to keep balance. The whole afternoon, she did not reply to any more messages from her dating partners. According to her, replying to one person means replying to all of them. It's too tiring. As usual, she lay down on the sofa with me, ate and watched a movie. Then she left. I closed the door, looked at the phones on the coffee table, and felt a headache. But there was no other way. Who told me to have a best friend named C. King? So I simply replied to a few messages, but the other side did not respond. After a long while, the next messages were sent one after another. What are you doing? Busy? I had no choice but to put down the bag of lemon-flavored potato chips and reply to the messages. Less than a moment later, another phone rang. It was Fu Jingshen. Have you had dinner yet? Looking at the two phones in my hands, I felt a headache. I also did not know how Suyu managed to cope. No wonder she was always like a customer service representative. I decided to only talk to one person. So I quickly texted Fu Jingshen, "Honey, I'm so sleepy today, I'm going to bed first. Good night." The other side replied mockingly, "What's wrong? There are only two people, and you can't even cope?" Me! Exclamation point. How did he know? I didn't dare to reply anymore. Strangely, the two phones no longer had any message notifications. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fu Jingshen called me for a video call. I've been texting too much lately, so my hand feels tired, so I have to answer the call. On the other end, he was wearing a black suit, his facial features were clear, and he was handsome to the point of death. I swallowed my saliva. "Can we meet tonight?" I quickly refused. "No. I'm sick." He was silent for a moment. "Then I'll send the family doctor over." I was about to refuse again when I heard someone next to him say, "Brother, what are you doing?" I quickly said, "You go ahead and get busy, I'm hanging up." After hanging up, I texted Suyu, asking her to meet me at the afternoon tea shop on the second floor of the hotel. When I arrived, Suyu was still holding 6 phones. Compared to the 8 before, she looked more relaxed now. As soon as I sat down, I immediately said, "Fu Jingshen wants to see me." "No, he wants to see you." Suyu blinked. "Who is Fu Jingshen?" I thought she had dated too much and had forgotten, so I reminded her, "He's the crown prince in the imperial city." She blinked. "It seems to be his surname Fu Jingshen? Oh well, does he want to see you?" "It's okay, he's never met me before anyway, you can just deal with it." I hesitated a bit. No matter how bold I was online, in real life, I was still an introvert. Suddenly, a group of people rushed down from the upper floors. 2 men were lying on stretchers with their faces covered in blood. The family members outside rushed over. "Who did it? Who dares to touch my son?" Only to hear someone remind, "If it's not the crown prince of the Faux family, then who else would it be?" That's too cruel. No matter how rude Huizi was, he wouldn't have been beaten like this. He's a violent person, have you forgotten? He even broke people's legs before, beating them without sparing their lives. Don't say any more. Suyu and I looked at each other. Wait until the crowd has all left. I swallowed. You're dating him, you deal with it. Suyu humbly refused. You're dating him too, you take care of it. No, you made an appointment first, you go see him. No, he wants to see you, so you have to go. In the end, we decided to agree. If it doesn't work out then break up. So I quickly took out my phone and texted Fu Jingshen, "Let's break up." Fu Jingshen, ? Me, I'm a conqueror, I can't be with you. Your favorability has reached 100 now, I have to go too. I'm sorry, honey, don't be angry, and don't take revenge on me. Actually, I like you too, but if I don't leave, I'll be erased. Fo Kin Tam, me, my system is urging me. Goodbye, my love. After sending, to Noyette gave me a thumbs up. You've read novels for so many years, it's not in vain. I proudly raised my head, of course. Tenoyet smiled, I've already vented all my anger. You broke up, I broke up too. After saying that, she picked up her phone and coolly said,
Goodbye.
To a bunch of people. Having completed the big event, she let out a sigh of relief. So comfortable. Finally, I don't have to chat until late at night anymore. Looking at the dark circles under her eyes, I suddenly realized that being a sea king wasn't easy. After enjoying some afternoon tea, Suyu and I prepared to go out. As soon as we opened the door, we saw a Bugatti Chiron key on the ground. Just as I was about to bend down to pick it up and return it to someone, I saw a man in a color-coordinated hoodie with silver-dyed hair in front of me. He looked a lot like Fu Jingxian, but there were light dark circles under his eyes. Seeing Suyu, he sneered, tired? Want to find someone younger to date? You've been making me tense all day, saying you're breaking up means you're breaking up? Suyu's forehead was covered in sweat. She asked cautiously, are you Yun Yun, or CC, or Fu? He sneered, the people you mentioned are all me. Then he took out a bunch of cell phones and threw them on the carpet. Suyu looked very surprised. Damn, the fish tank exploded. I blinked. In the afternoon, when Suyu praised me, I forgot to delete his number. Looking at the red phone case, I remembered that this was the phone Suyu gave me. Didn't the fish tank explode? That meant the person who texted me was the man who took Suyu away. I pursed my lips, feeling annoyed. After hanging out with Suyu, I became very biased. Since I was 16, Suyu was always right in my heart. As long as she loved her country, I would forgive everything else. At least in my heart, Suyu could be flirtatious. But this guy couldn't. Suyu was next to him, yet he was still texting me. How shameless. Me, scum, go away. After sending the message, I immediately blocked and deleted his number. 3 days later, Suyu asked me to meet her at a newly opened bar. I walked over and saw the back of her neck, covered in hair, full of shady marks. Having read novels for many years, of course I knew what it was. If I hadn't eaten pork, hadn't I seen a pig running? I was confident that my position in Suyu's heart was definitely higher than that violent scumbag. So I quickly told Suyu what happened last night. Unexpectedly, she wasn't angry, just frowned. You said he texted you last night? I nodded. She shook her head, no way, it's not that I don't believe you, but we were always together last night, and he didn't sleep until morning, how could he text you? I was also a bit confused, yes, Suyu was right next to him, how could he text me? But I quickly forgot about it. Because I felt that Suyu had changed, she had always trusted me unconditionally before. A violent dog-headed fish, what right did he have to compete with me for a place in Suyu's heart? I had just exploded in anger, Suyu immediately coaxed me, maybe he did it when I was taking a bath. It's okay, I believe you, if he's scum then forget it. Then I'll take you on a trip to England, okay? I'll find you 10 tall guys then, don't be angry anymore, honey. I nodded. That was right. I was the most important person to her. As long as I was here, all the men out there had to retreat. I crawled into her arms. You're the best. Suddenly, a resentful voice rang out from outside, humph. I raised my head and saw a man in a dark blue t-shirt standing there, not far behind was a figure in a black shirt. He looked at Suyu and coldly laughed. I was about to poke Suyu's waist to remind her when I saw him turn his head to look behind him, his voice cold, carrying a hint of sarcasm, brother, these two idiots still haven't realized that we're not the same person? And yet they still want to go to England to find 10 tall guys. Me? Suyu also heard his voice, looked over suspiciously. She saw a man wearing a black shirt and a vest of the same color walking over. The moment he lowered his head, his messy black hair lightly covered his eyebrows. On his wrist was a string of Buddhist beads. He raised his head to look at me. It was the person who had video called me. In real life, he looked even more perfect, this little butt, this waist. Why are his ears so red? Suyu was also looking. The first to speak was the little wolf. He stepped forward, blocking Suyu's view, and smiled at me. Sister-in-law, I'm Fu Siyun, and the person next to me is my brother, Fu Jingshan. I'm 1m89 tall, my hips are 95, my chest is 101, I don't know the other parameters, you can measure them yourself. He's also your online love interest. Suyu and I looked at each other with wide eyes. What's going on? All 8 of Suyu's online love interests were Fu Siyun, and the person texting me was his brother? But how did he know that his dating partner had changed? That's right, this person was very cunning at first glance. He had Suyu in the palm of his hand, and with 8 small accounts, it was normal for him to discover the change. But, you're going to England? Looking for 10 tall guys? You two are really greedy. I felt a little guilty. Fu Siyun looked unhappy, sat down next to Suyu, looked at her and smiled coldly. While I was thinking about what to do, I saw Suyu come over and grab Fu Siyun's hand. I was just joking with you. I stood to the side, a little embarrassed, intending to go out to give space to Suyu and Fu Siyun. Looking at Fu Siyun's face right now, I couldn't help but sigh. Suyu truly deserved the title of Sea King, her talent in coaxing others was truly #1. After I walked out, Fu Jingshan followed. I didn't dare to look up at him at all. Even though I was so bold online that it scared people. But when we met, I was shy. His low laughter rang out from above. Why don't you call me husband anymore? I reflexively raised my head, my face red with embarrassment. I remembered that time when I was flirting with him. I said, "Can I call you husband?" You know, I haven't had a husband since I was little. Now I just wanted to bury myself in the ground to avoid embarrassment. You even said you wanted to kiss my lips until they were torn. Seeing his teasing gaze, I immediately puffed out my chest and raised my head. That's right, if you don't believe me, try it out. I guessed he wouldn't dare. After all, when we were dating online, he was often flirted with until his face turned red, and he even sent voice messages saying he couldn't take it anymore. But I didn't expect that just by looking at me, his ears would turn slightly red. Then he softly replied, "Okay." As soon as he finished speaking, he lowered his head and kissed me on the lips. I widened my eyes, but his waist was already held tightly by him. Half an hour later, he finally let me go. I reached out to touch his slightly swollen lips, my eyes shining brightly. Men still have their own charm, no wonder all women like to fall in love. So, I immediately grabbed his shirt buttons and moved closer. My eyes focused on his thin red lips and the small mole on the bridge of his nose. "Brother, can I have one more time?" His Adam's apple moved slightly. He said something, his eyes seemed to want to swallow me. He lowered his head to allow me to come closer. Until the corners of his eyes were red, the corners of his lips were scratched by me, and the top few buttons of his shirt were pulled open by me. His shirt looked like he had just been tortured. I swallowed my saliva. Hearing him say, "Xiao Qian, can we not break up?" I moved closer, wrapping my arms around his waist. "We have to see how you act." He replied softly, his eyes filled with a smile that revealed indulgence. "Okay." Fu Jingshan and I continued to chat. It seemed like he knew what I liked, and every time we video called, he was shirtless. I was getting more and more satisfied with him. Until my father called me and told me to come home, saying that there was something important to discuss. As soon as I got home, my father sat seriously on the sofa with my mother, announcing his grand plan. He decided to expand the company and asked for my and my mother's opinions. I agreed immediately. After all, 56 years old is the right age to break out. The moment my father stood in the living room, drawing out his grand vision of dominating City A, I had a feeling that perhaps this time he would realize the dream I had always wanted, to help my father achieve great success. So when my mother and I resolutely voted in favor, my father held the documents with great momentum and went straight to the company. For a whole month, my father did not come home. He just called me and my mother every day, saying that the company was too busy, telling us not to miss him too much. Of course, my mother and I wholeheartedly supported him. One person wanted their father to succeed, the other wanted their husband to succeed. Unexpectedly, the day my father returned, he was crying and sobbing, and he had even lost a lot of weight. His small beer belly was gone. He looked at me with eyes full of regret. I felt something was wrong. Just as I was about to run away, my father grabbed my wrist and wiped away his tears. "Daughter, I'm so sorry for you. I invested 50 million in the new project, but it all went down the drain. All of our family's cash was invested in it, and we even owed the bank 30 million. Your parents are old, we can't pay it back, we have to rely on you. You're still young." Me? Even if my mother scolded my father, it couldn't change the fact that I had a 30 million bank debt on my shoulders. The next morning when I woke up, I saw my father and mother traveling around the world, leaving a note telling me to come to the company to take over. At that time, at the age of 23, I held the note and sat on the balcony, feeling gloomy. At such a young age, I had to bear such a huge debt. In that moment of overwhelming emotions, I even wanted to light myself a cigarette. After thinking for a long time, I sneaked into my parents' room, looked at the empty bed, and sighed. It was as if I had decided something. When I walked out, each step I took became heavier. I held my mother's house papers and my father's car keys and papers. The next night, when I returned, my heart was even heavier. Because the brokerage told me that all of these things needed my parents to transfer themselves, and that they needed to be called back. I sighed. Finally, I had to go to the company. My father's assistant was very happy to see me and happily handed me a huge pile of documents for me to handle. I was busy taking over the company's work, feeling a little confused. Fu Jingshan texted me, but I didn't have time to reply. It seemed like he knew something, so he didn't bother me anymore, only calling me after work. "Are you busy?" I nodded. Dad took my mom to travel around the world, and left the company to me. There really are a lot of things to learn. He replied. "Let me teach you, okay?" I hesitated a little. But in this field, Fu Jingshan was truly the best. As the heir to the Fu family, the things he had learned since he was young were things that would take me 3 to 5 years to learn. Moreover, he had quite good talent, and the development of the Fu group under his leadership was truly impressive. Okay. Although I felt uncomfortable bothering him, I also knew that this was not the time to think about feelings. When Fu Jingshan arrived, everyone else had already gotten off work. Only I remained at the company. He held an exquisite bamboo lunch box. "Eat first." I nodded. After eating, I looked at him holding the documents, frowned slightly, and slowly explained. It wasn't until 3 in the morning that he stopped. In just a few short hours, my thinking had cleared up, and I had truly learned quite a few things. I had just said thank you when his eyes swept over me. Just a thank you? I felt a little embarrassed. After all, I had troubled him for so long. I was also hungry. I looked towards the break room, originally intending to invite him to eat, but my cooking skills weren't good, so I changed to inviting him to cook. I only knew how to make soup, so I asked him, "Do you know how to stir-fry?" Seeing him nod, I felt relieved. Okay, it has to be really spicy. I liked stir-fry the most, especially spicy stir-fried chicken. I remembered that this morning the maid had filled the refrigerator, and there were some chicken thighs and chili peppers. He swallowed, his voice a little hoarse. Okay. I'm going to take a shower first. I blinked. This person was really a bit strange. Even cooking requires a bath first? The office my father prepared for me was like a small apartment, taking up a quarter of this floor. There was everything inside. While I was thinking about what to do, I saw him come out bare-chested. Around his waist was a light pink bath towel. That was the one I bought. He often worked overtime these days, and would sleep here, so I wouldn't go back. But looking at him wrapped in the towel, I felt awkward for no reason. Broad shoulders, small waist, slightly protruding butt, this body was truly amazing. I remembered what happened earlier, and my face turned slightly red. Turning my eyes away, I urged him, hurry up and stir-fry. I'm almost done cooking the rib soup. His ears turned slightly red. So urgent? I frowned. Do you know how to stir-fry? If not, I'll find someone else. I could call the maid, but it was too late, and it was a bit embarrassing. But looking at the man wrapped in the towel, it didn't seem like he was going to cook. His face suddenly became serious. Do I need to find someone else? I was a bit impatient, of course. After saying that, I was about to get up to call the maid and transfer the money. It was already late anyway. It was a bit inconvenient to bother others. When I stood up, I didn't pay attention. I rushed forward, one hand accidentally pulled the towel around his waist. I didn't even dare to raise my head. Fu Jingshan sighed, carrying me into the bathroom. It goes without saying what he did. Looking at this face, it wasn't me who was at a disadvantage anyway, so I gave up resisting, tiptoed and kissed him on the lips. Remembering Su Yu's advice about finding a man, you may not have a man in your heart, but you must have one by your side. Not long after, I almost cried. Why was he so determined tonight? In the midst of his passion, he bit my lip, his eyes filled with resentment. Chan, you have to take responsibility for me. I just wanted him to stop, nodding randomly. His eyes flashed with surprise, his actions even more excited. I wanted to cry without tears. The next day, Suyu sent me a screenshot. It was a conversation between Fu Jingshan and Fu Siyun. She left me to cook. She left you to cook so late, she must have you in her heart. Brother, cooking between lovers has another layer of meaning. Me. After agreeing to be with Fu Jingshan, we officially became a couple. Every day I saw him very enthusiastic, almost excessively. During the day, I saw a serious, well-dressed man. At night, he changed unpredictably. The storm outside had stopped. I closed my eyes and dreamily saw Fu Jingshan get out of bed, take out a large teardrop-shaped diamond ring from his vest, surrounded by a circle of small diamonds. Even without turning on the lights, I could feel the sparkle of the gemstone. Suyu and I had just returned from outside. Before entering the door, Suyu said she had forgotten something in the car, so she went into the garage first. I pushed the door open and entered, my eyes filled with blooming lily roses. That night, Fu Siyun was not home, and Suyu had not returned yet. Fu Jingshan was especially excited. His back was full of scratches left by my fingernails, a small part of which was caused by the diamond ring. In the throes of love, he leaned into my ear and placed me on a bed filled with rose petals and lily pistils. I love you, Tian. The next afternoon, I woke up to find him changing me into a red dress. Fo Kin Tam sat on the sofa beside me, holding 2 household registration books. Noticing my gaze, he stood up and hugged me, smiling. You're awake, let's go to the Justice Department. After receiving the certificate, Fo Kin Tam took me to the Fo family's old house. He had told me in advance. The others had also prepared gifts for the meeting. My parents were very pleased with Fo Kin Tam. They pulled him into the living room to chat, until my father took out a dozen house ownership certificates, saying that they were my dowry. Then I learned that my family had no debt at all. It was just that my grandparents didn't want to do it anymore, so they forced me out. The wedding will take place at the end of next month, together with Suyu on the Fu family's private island. Last night, Suyu went to Bali with Fu Siyun for their honeymoon. When she heard that Fu Jingshen and I were getting married, she wasn't surprised at all. She just invited me to go out together, then said softly, "There are a lot of foreign guys wearing swimsuits here." I saw Fu Siyun standing behind her again, her expression very ugly. The phone quickly fell to the ground. Realizing that there were indeed quite a few handsome guys around. After ending the call, I quickly put on my slippers and went into Fu Jingshen's office. I sat down on his lap. His atom slightly raised. "Want it?" Me. After talking about going to Bali for a honeymoon, Fu Jingshen's narrow eyes narrowed. His gaze fell on the phone screen on the table. I turned my head to look. It was a conversation with Fu Siyun. "Brother, do your best." Suyu told Jian Jian to go to Bali to see handsome men. Me, Fu Jingshen hugged my waist, his eyes darkening. "Okay." My eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. I wrapped my arms around his neck. "I want to." After 3 days at the villa, Fu Jingshen took me to Bali. As soon as Suyu saw me, she immediately pulled me to the beach, chatting away about the handsome men over there. In the evening, I was just walking around the water and returning. As soon as I got closer, I heard Fu Siyun's angry voice. "How long has it been since you came back? Do you know that you're not allowed to pick wild flowers outside?" "Me too, you said they came to see handsome men, and even brought your sister-in-law along. Suyu was about to be lured back by you." Fu Jingshen's voice was low. "It's okay, it's just to see, she's not my property. As a man, you have to be a little more generous." I looked at him with emotion. Fu Siyun glared at him. "You tricked me." It was just that night, some jealous man held me in front of the large mirror in the dressing room, my whole body exuding a dangerous aura, full of energy. End. Side story, Fu Jingshen. As soon as he got home, he saw Fo Tuvan lying on the sofa, his hair a mess, his face full of annoyance. "She really left you for someone else? I thought you didn't know. How could you like such a heartless person? Consider yourself unlucky." "But she only gave one account to someone else, not anything else. She really still loves you." I was used to Fu Siyun occasionally going crazy. The whole family knew that before the college entrance exam, he liked a girl from the school next door but didn't dare to confess, saying that she was a sea queen, such a handsome boy, sooner or later he would become a fish in her pond. So every day he dressed up to catch her, but the result was that she already had a soccer team, yet he was still in a state of unrequited love. He even insisted that if he loved someone, he would break up, but unrequited love was not. I didn't care about it anymore, preparing to go upstairs. His phone suddenly rang. Fu Siyun threw it to me. "Brother, help me handle it, just don't let it show. You used another account to flirt with girls. What is a sea queen? I've already rented a whole pond." After saying that, the boy left. I frowned, took the phone upstairs. After taking a shower, I received a text message from a girl. "I pooped a lot today, it's all your fault." Me? At first I was just curious, but I didn't expect to send it, and then she immediately replied, "Because I miss you, I keep peeing." I didn't plan on replying to the text message anymore, so I called Fu Siyun to get it back. He was sitting downstairs, holding 7 phones and typing, and didn't even bother to look up when he heard my voice. "Brother, help me reply, I'm really busy. She's Suyu's best friend, her name is Chan. She's the pretty little girl next door from before, you know, she's not an outsider. I held my phone tightly, and replied. I went upstairs, looked at the text message she sent, my eyes filled with joy. Tian was the only daughter, and was so beautiful that she made others jealous since she was young. The chubby boy in her kindergarten class liked to bully her, and I lived next door, 5 years older than her. Uncle Zheng asked me to help, taking Tian to talk to that chubby boy. Children's matters were not convenient for adults to interfere. But the chubby boy pulled her hair. I was 13 years old, and vaguely understood what was going on. It was obvious that the chubby boy liked her, so he deliberately tried to attract her attention, but his actions were really too bad. In the end, I still took Tian away. The chubby boy didn't dare to anger Tian anymore. She looked at me with admiration, and often looked for me. Until we moved, I left Tian's contact information, but she never looked for me again. The next time I saw Tian, it was on her 20th birthday. After seeing me coming out of the bathroom drunk, she stuffed a handful of money into my chest. Treating me like a male model, she pushed me into the bathroom and kissed me. It wasn't until someone outside called her that she staggered out. Every day, Tian chatted with me. I wanted to see her, but instead I received a breakup message from her. She said she was the one who carried out the plan. I posted online to ask if it was true. Netizens laughed out loud, saying this was a strange reason for breaking up. Break up? Not really. That night, Tian sent me a video. It seemed like it was sent by mistake. She was lying on the sofa, her plump lips pale. She was clearly sick. I wanted to go take care of her, but she scolded me for being scum, and blocked me. I found Fu Siyun, asked him to take me to find Suyu. I knew that Chan would be with her. When I reached the door, I heard the conversation between her and Suyu. I felt a little angry. But as long as she coaxed me, my heart would beat faster. There was only her in my heart. A year later, she was my wife. Only Chan was Fu's wife. But the most important thing in her heart seemed to be Suyu? I wasn't sure, but it didn't matter. As long as I was there, it was enough. Fu Siyun and Suyu were arguing. I heard Suyu talking about wanting a divorce. Before Chan said, if you divorce, I beat Fu Siyun up. My mother also slapped Fu Siyun afterwards. Chan held my hand and whispered something in my ear. That night, she was very enthusiastic. It was only when she said she had a stomachache that I realized she was pregnant. That night, holding her and looking at the moonlight outside the window, I couldn't help but smile. Thinking back to when Chan was 20, she pushed me into the bathroom. In places where no one knew, my love for her grew silently. From then on, it grew forever. She was the warm, bright sunlight on the winter solstice. If loneliness is a problem without a solution, then Chan is my only answer. The end.